I'm going to tell you why you should never, ever pursue a man and what will happen if you do. I love coming to you live, like off the cuff with no script, nothing like that. Just going to share my insights with you as a feminine energy dating and relationship coach. This is why you never, ever want to pursue a man. This is what happens when you do pursue a man. I'm going to share that with you. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure to take a moment, hit the subscribe, hit like if this video helps you. I'm going to share with you 3 scenarios about what happens when you pursue a man, 3 different things that maybe you're going through or a girlfriend is going through. And you really think like, this is what I should do. I like this guy. He means a lot to me. I want to show him, I want to prove to him how much I like him, and I want to have something to do with him. I want to have him in my life. And pursuing a man comes from a really sincere place in a woman's body where she wants to share her world with this man, and she is certain, fairly certain, that there's something wonderful between them that's going to play out in the future. And that's called potential. And you believe in that potential with this man, that something wonderful can happen with him. So I'm going to share 3 scenarios. That's coming up for you. It's about when you've had a great date with a guy, you've gone on a couple of dates, you've been dating him, it feels wonderful, and you're like, he's not calling me, he's not pursuing me, like what's happening? I'm going to message him, I'm going to reach out to him, I'm going to let him know I like him. I'm going to, comment on his social media, or I'm going to show up where I know he's going to be tonight. Or what if you've had an argument with your guy and you're like, we got to fix this. We got to read this book. We got to go see this therapist. We've got to do something different. I'm going to pursue him after this argument because otherwise it'll never get fixed. Or I'm going to pursue him to do these chores, finish this project, do better with his life, get a better job. I'm going to keep pursuing him and leaning towards him to make this work and make it happen. Or maybe you just really want a relationship with someone. I'm going to share a quick story with you. And then I'm going to go into these topics a little bit more, expand on those. But I'm going to share a quick story with you about a man that I really pursued for years. And he was just unavailable for a relationship. And I talked a little bit in the past about how I had a long distance relationship, kind of on again, off again. And I had the worst thing end up happening to me after years of pursuing this man and really hoping that like something wonderful could work out with him. Not only did I sabotage so many other relationships I could have had, but he kept kind of luring me back in with just enough attention. So it was a long distance relationship, on again, off again. Whenever I talked about moving closer to him, he seemed to always have a problem with it. The times I did live near him, he was unavailable. He would always have work or something he was doing or some other project. He was unavailable. He always had like a lot of excuses. Or he'd meet up with me and we'd go out together, but he'd bring like his guy friend along with him or a friend, or always have this thing that would like intercept us or come between us. But I kept just pursuing and pursuing and pursuing. And then finally, I reached out to him and I was like, listen, I think you're the one I'm meant to be with. We've been together all these years, on again, off again. I know we're meant to be together. I know you're the one. Like I can feel it in my bones. And there was a long pause. And he said, the worst thing you can ever hear a man say to you if you are a woman, which is, what do you want with me? Really, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? And that was when I knew, and I said, I want to be in a relationship. I want us to, give this a go. I want to really be together. We've been knowing each other all this time. It's been so wonderful. He goes, what do you want with me? And I was like, okay, I've made it clear what I want. But he was acting like I was out to get something from him. Like I was pursuing him to have something I needed from him. And you know what? He felt that stress. He felt my energy, that masculine energy moving towards him. And I was pursuing him, and he got weirded out by it. And he was like, what do you want from me? Like, what? Why me? Why are you pursuing me? And that's exactly what happens to men. They'll enjoy it for a while if you're pursuing them. They'll like it. They'll keep up with it. But ultimately, they're like, what's up with this chick? She is just on me nonstop. She is pursuing me. She keeps coming towards me. You see what I mean? And so they get kind of suspicious of why are we pursuing them? Because the truth is that women have a whole lot more options than men ever will, especially if you're under the age of 45. It seems like it changes a little bit when you get older. You know, men, it's a different world, I believe, when you get over 45. But I'm not 100% on that. I don't want to offend anybody by that. But I have a really popular blog on that about why walking away works when you're of a certain age. But especially when you're younger, you have so many other options coming towards you. The time I spent as a beautiful woman hand-picking these couple of guys that I was just certain I was meant to be with. And I was pursuing them, and I was shutting out all my other options, you see. So let's talk a little bit further about this, because if you are of a certain age, you have a lot of options. And even if you're older, you still have options. You don't have to pursue a guy. It changes a little bit, and I'll talk about that some. But for now, I want you to go back to understanding the basics of what is behind this. Because once you get the basics of what it means to pursue a man, it's a completely different world. Your eyes just change. Now, you might have the whole attitude of, I want what I want. And I've decided it's him. He's who I want. And that's one of the worst things you can do, is because I am going to put in the work to make this happen with this person. And it needs to be a place of that man says, I have met who I want to be with, and I am going to move mountains to win this woman and have this woman in my life. I will stop at nothing to get her. She is who I look into her eyes. I see my children in her eyes. That's the type of love that you want to have, because you have so many options. There are so many people on this planet. You have so many options. I was drop dead gorgeous. I had a good income. I was educated. I was hand picking a few certain men that I had to have. And it isn't a shoe store. Finding who you want to spend the rest of your life with isn't a shoe store or a jewelry store or handbags. They're not objects that you pick because you want them. Or you meet a guy and the sex is like insane. And you're like, this is what I want for the rest of my life. This amazing sex and this chemistry. Well, what you're really falling in love with, in addition to a lot of other things, you're falling in love with the fact that he's not pursuing you back. Or he pursues sometimes and then he pulls away. He rubber bands, like a little rubber band snapping and coming back. And we end up kind of falling for that. I talk a lot about the man I call the artist that just like wrecked my world big time. And he was in part of what really launched my career as a YouTube coach. And I got my certification in coaching, and I learned so much more about relationships and feminine and masculine energy, because on the very first date I had with him, and we met at a local like sports bar, he was leaning back and just kind of checking me out from afar, even though I was like right in front of him. And now maybe he read some book about manipulating women, and he knew to do that. And he knew to keep that eye contact. and not break it, but lean back. And so it's like reeling you in and pushing away, and reeling you in and pushing you away. And we get caught up in that. Our DNA gets caught up in that. And not to mention, just if any of you have, the trauma, big T or even a little t trauma with anyone abandoning you, that is going to trigger you, okay? So now let's look at physiology of this. You have the egg and the sperm. I'm not going to take credit for the egg or the sperm, but I will tell you, I was the first person on YouTube, I'm pretty sure, who made that analogy that the sperm pursues the egg. And that's wonderful if other people are sharing it. But the reason why I'm telling you that this was something that I came up with in a way to share with you, to help you understand that the egg is here to receive. It sits in the womb, it waits, it trusts, and the sperm pursues. So this is like written, this is hardwired in your DNA about how your actions are in life. So what happens to women? What happens is we live in this society that says whatever it is you want, you can go out and get it. But your physiology can't keep up. Your egg can't hop out and go pursue a man. That's not how it works. But we believe, just like a job or a handbag or a house or a goal, hashtag like, I can make it happen. I can do this. It doesn't work with men. It doesn't work with relationships. It might work for a while, but then it won't. So men pursue what is valuable to them. Men pursue what makes their life better. It makes their life better. It makes them look good. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel like a man. They pursue what they value. A woman might pursue a man for different reasons. Like, okay, he's a little shorter than me, but oh my God, the sex, and he makes such a good living, and he's so masculine, the way he handles things. We pursue a man because of how he makes us feel, how he smells. Oh, how he smells. He makes us laugh. He makes us feel like, we're going to be okay in this world. We pursue a man for like a lot of different reasons. And it's not that I want you to dial down those reasons. Find a man that does that for you, but let him be the one who pursues you and connect with that energy there. So for example, when I met the man who became my husband, Jeff, he had a lot of the traits I wanted. He made me laugh. He was there. He kept showing up. I didn't really even want him. I wasn't pursuing him, but he kept showing up. He kept coming over, bringing me Thai food, helping me walk my dogs. He helped me insulate some windows one time before winter. The guy just kept showing up. He kept making love to me, and it was great. And slowly, this is what I call the slow burn, I fell for him because he was pursuing me. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, he's really got all of these qualities that I wanted, but I couldn't see them because the package wasn't appearing the way that I thought it should appear. And so women, we fall in love sometimes with that potential, that idea of what we believe it should be like. And we pursue the man to make it so. And that is why this happens. So, real quick recap. Men pursue what is valuable to them. If something valuable is pursuing the man, think about when you open your inbox and someone's trying to sell you something over and over and over again. The more they come at you, the more you lose kind of taste for them. You're like, I don't even think I want this anymore because they're coming on too strong. For a man, that feeling is triple. They get very suspicious very quickly. We do not give men enough credit for their emotional sensitivity to read a room and read a situation. They are much more sensitive than we give them credit for. We also have the egg and the sperm. That's about biology. We have what the guy said to me years ago, which is, what do you want from me? What do you want? If I'm so high value, if I, the woman, am so high value, why am I pursuing him? And he was right. What do I want with him? I had a dream in my mind of how it should be. So I don't want this happening to you. So I'm going to give you those scenarios about you've had a great date with a guy. felt amazing. Why is he not calling back? Why is he not making another date with you? What is wrong with this guy? You just need to tell him and remind him how great you are, right? Wrong. So you have a wonderful date with a man. You can send him a message that said, last night felt wonderful. I felt comfortable. I felt my cheeks hurting because we laughed so hard last night. I felt really happy. I felt, just one sentence, would feel lovely to do that again sometime. Period. So now he knows I've had a date with you. I felt and it was nice. Period. Would be great to do it again sometime. That's it. No more. So he writes you and says, yeah, sure, that's great. Okay. You can, if you want to, say, oh, awesome. Well, what day and time were you thinking? And he goes, well, I'm not sure yet. I've got this going on. I've got that going on. I've got my kid next week and I've got to fly to this other place for a job. Okay, have a great time. That's it. Oh, I know he came back into town a few days ago. I should message him and say, hey, I know you're back in town. How'd the interview go? No, he knows you're there. You've told him I had a wonderful time. If he can't keep up with these very limited amount of details, I had a good time. We feel great to do it again. What day and time? Oh, you don't know what day and time? Okay. Have a good one. I'll see you later. That's it. That is how you handle that. So if you had several dates in a row with a man, and if you want to learn these techniques, absolutely, it's a course on my website called FEM Tools for Dating. That stands for Feminine Energy Mindset Method. FEM Tools for Dating. I have a FEM for Relationship. And if you really want to learn, get FEM Diamond is a deep dive. So let's say you've had several dates with a man. Lots of dates. And then it's just slowing down. It's just, he's not calling as much. And you're like, I don't understand. We had so much fun the other night. What happened? Just not calling. If it's been more than about a week and a half, and now I say this for me because if I'm regularly dating someone, if I can't regularly date them, at least once a week, I lose interest. I don't have time for you. That's my rule. That's my feminine energy boundary. Because then I get into pursuing mode, right? I start having that rubber band feeling happening inside of me. And again, as women, there's a very good chance you have had someone abandon you and it triggers you to pursue them. So I know that about myself. So if more than 2 weeks have gone by, a week and a half, and this man has not reached out to you, I suggest this ... question mark text or some sort of small little nudge you can send him to let him know, like, hey, I'm a little confused. It's been feeling really great, but I haven't heard from you in a while. And if he comes back with like, oh, I'm so sorry, and here's my very legitimate excuses, but then he goes another 5 or 6 days without reaching out to you, you are no longer dating him. In my world, you're no longer dating him because he's willing to take that gamble and have so much time between the next time he sees you. And meanwhile, I hope you are not committed to him solely based on a dating relationship. That's where you're just dating. I'm just dating to see how things go. Now, in FEM Tools for Dating, I go much more into depth into being sexually exclusive with someone, because that can happen sometimes after the 5th or 6th date or the 3rd date. You're already in bed with the guy and you're like, I'm in a relationship. No, you're not. Even if he said, I'm not dating anybody else, I totally want to be with you, I took down my dating profile. If he's going weeks without contacting you, that is not a sustainable relationship. This is about sustainability. This is leading in the direction of a loving, long-lasting relationship that leads to marriage. That's what I want. And it's not going in that direction. Or some sort of ceremony that means we are together. We are one, all right? So if it's been a couple of weeks, you can send out that ... question mark, little emoji, like, I don't know. You can send that and then see if he responds. That happened recently in my group. A woman had been on several dates with a guy. It felt wonderful. She didn't hear anything from him anymore. And she sent the, like, hey, it's felt great. I'm just curious what's going on. And he said, honestly, I thought you had ghosted me. Now, I don't want to pretend I have a little crystal ball and I can predict the future, but if she's already having to do the leg work for this guy, if he's that type of insecure, there's already a problem, because men will move mountains to be with the woman they want to be with. It's more like this guy is probably in an energy of, I haven't heard from her. I'm not going to push it. If she reaches out to me, fine. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. That's the energy they're coming from. Now, I could be wrong, but my guess is it should be speeding up in frequency. It shouldn't be slowing down. There is sometimes a lull you hit where a man kind of pulls away for a little bit. When he's kind of like, oh, I'm feeling things, and he's trying to figure it out. That can happen, but you'll be able to know the difference. It'll feel different. And this is happening very early on in the relationship with this dating relationship. So check out Femme Tools for Dating, Femme for Relationships, and Femme Diamond. They're on my website, links below. So let's go into the next one, which is, we've had an argument. If I don't go to him and start to patch this up and apologize, it will not get resolved. False. You got to lean back. You got to let this man come towards you. If you've done or said something wrong, I want you to be able to admit it. But there's a very good chance most men, unless they really, really messed up, and it's super obvious, again, men are way more sensitive than women are. Women are much more tough when it comes to terms of like kind of logically resolving this conflict. Certain men are, but most men are not. So most men, if you had an argument, he'll go to the cave, he'll hide away for a little bit, and you'll start to miss him. You'll start to feel bad. You know, you've got like a wedding coming up or an event coming up, or you guys have got to clean out the garage this weekend. You got to make peace with him. You got to come to him and solve this. And so you get that masculine energy to move towards him to fix it. Don't. You can send him like a text message that says, hey, I said some ugly things today. I apologize for that. Leave it. When it comes to pursuing him, you're not writing him a big long paragraph. You're not coming to him with your thesis on how you guys should solve this particular relationship problem. You've got to lean back and let that man pursue you. He knows about the thing you've got going on. He knows what's happening soon. You've got to lean back and let him pursue you and come back around. He will act like he's still mad. He'll still be upset. He'll still be sour grapes. But give the guy a chance, because that's his best attempt to come back and fix whatever is going wrong. So a lot of times the man comes back around and the woman's like, well, what took you so long? Where have you been? I've been here. Why didn't you say that yesterday? Well, time's up. And so we keep punishing the guy, even though he's like coming back around the best he can. Catch yourself when you're doing this, ladies. Give the guy a chance. It's just not going to be the way that you would do it. It will be the way a man can do it. All right. Same goes for if he's not doing his part around the house. If you're having to remind him constantly to pick up the kids, do the dishes, do the laundry, let it pile up. Let it pile up. Let him forget and let it be all on him. That's how he's going to learn. He's not going to learn from your mothering and pursuing him to clean his room, do his chores, take care of this. He will learn through forgetting and pain and feeling unlike a man in his own body. If you shame him, it's not going to work. He's got to shame himself. He's got to feel so horrible about himself that he wants to change, not by you pursuing him. So once you start looking at this differently and thinking about it differently, your brain will begin to see things in a different way instead of like, I need to go take care of this. No, Adrienne Everheart said to lean back and give him a little time to figure it out. especially if it was like his responsibility to do it. Now, what if you want a relationship with a man? You really have been dating him, you're committed, you want to be married, you want to have something with him, just not happening. I have a very popular blog called Why Walking Away Works. And this is where I want to touch on the being over 45 part, because I believe once you get past around 40, relationships become more challenging, because now there are previous marriages, children, job changes, planning for retirement. The game kind of changes in terms of relationships. Whereas when you're young, in your 20s and 30s, sometimes even like your 40s, it's about like, oh, we're hot for each other, we're crazy for each other, this feels wonderful, let's get together. And it's just much more simple transaction. But when you get past that age of around 40, 45, it does get more complicated, because men at that point, a lot of them, and correct me if I'm wrong, if any men are watching, they get to a place of like, why do I really need a relationship? There are lots of women I could just date a couple times a week, and there's that one girl that'll have sex with me, no strings attached. Like, why do I need to get married? I'm getting everything I need. And this is where you want to use my feminine energy tools to get a man to fall in love with you so deeply, irrevocably in love with you, that there is no one else. You make his life so much better. There is no one else like you. Now, a couple of things have to happen. He has to fall in love with you genuinely, without you pushing and pursuing. Show up as your true, authentic self. It has to, this is an agreement between you, him, and I do believe powers above, God, the universe, the timing is right. This is going to work out. And it has to be something that you're not sabotaging by pursuing him and making it happen and trying to fit it all into a box. So let's say you want a relationship with a man and you really, really want this one guy, and he keeps kind of showing up, texting you, liking your stories, liking your post, your kids, they have so much in common. The history is amazing. Everything on paper says this should work out. But it's just not. It is not working out. And you want that relationship. Read my blog about why walking away works. I have a couple of them. I think I have 2 that are on my website at everheartcoaching.com, or check the link below. I also have a lot of self-study programs. If you go look at my testimonials on my website, you will see hundreds of testimonials. And these are the women who just happen to send me a photo. So I've got something that works here. I think it will really help you, and give it a try. Look in the links below, learn more. Okay? And if I've helped your relationship, give this video a thumbs up. That's also a good way to know. I'm going to take a couple of quick questions, and then I'm going to move on and say goodbye. I hope this video has been helpful. If anyone has a question, I've got a lot of comments in here. Okay, Miracle says, I faced a situation after our first meeting. He distanced to go no contact. How should I deal with this situation, and how to break the pattern? So when someone has gone no contact with you, to me, no contact is one of the cruelest forms of adulting that exist. You go no contact when you are in such a horrifically abusive relationship, or mildly abusive, any type of abusive relationship. You go no contact to protect yourself. And no contact means no. It doesn't mean temporarily no. It means no contact. Or if you need a week or 2 to thaw out and kind of figure out, do I really want this relationship? Is this what I really want to do? But still, that's not no contact. If you reach out to me, I will communicate with you. But I need a little break. I need a little pause. I need to find out how I'm feeling for a couple days. Again, anyone who would say to me, hey, I need 2 weeks away from you to decide if I'm in a relationship with you, we're in super hot water. Okay, the artist used to do this to me. He would get mad, storm off, disappear for 2 weeks. No, that's not how you have a relationship with an adult. So my answer to you is, don't accept the no contact. If he goes more than a day without speaking to you and you're a committed relationship, reach out to him and say, hey, I'm sorry you're going through this. I want to work it out. I believe we can work it out. It would feel so good to work this out. What do you think? He goes, I told you, leave me alone, or worse, he says nothing at all. You say, hey, it's been a few days. I haven't heard from you. I just want to confirm that we are not in a relationship because I will be moving on. I love you. I care about you. I don't want this to happen. But this is not how adults solve problems, by just dropping out of each other's lives for certain amounts of time. That's how I would break that pattern. Now, I teach you that more in the ABCs to Get Him Back course, which is also in my links below at my website. Let's find another question. You guys have got some great comments here. I'm just reading them really quickly. Heather said, that makes me that much more appreciate the man that pursued me from day one, and he still pursues me 2 years later. Exactly. I've never once had to tap him on the shoulder and remind him, hey, I'm still here. I have never had to do that with my husband, Jeff. Not once. He has always been acutely aware of where I am. I'm in his life, and he wants to keep me nearby. Okay, Miss Dubois says, there's a guy who's been pursuing me. We've gone on dates and talk every day, but he doesn't check my most important boxes. I feel like I'd be settling if I stayed with him. How do I break it off? Well, the quick way to break something off is, this has felt wonderful, but we're just not a match. The end. Not, this has felt wonderful, and I love that you do this, and you're so sweet when you do that, and here's these other reasons, because he'll use all those reasons as a way to go, if I'm so great, why are you walking away from me? So it's real simple. I talk about this in 500 ways to talk to a man. It's my ebook and a video course on my website, which is, you've been great company. We're just not a match. However, let's talk about the word settling. Settling's got a really bad rap, because settling means that I believe there is something out there better for me. But instead, I feel like I need to settle for this. I've got bad news for all of you. We all settle. When you choose one partner, you are cutting off any other option. You know, it's like the opposite of FOMO, fear of missing out. Well, this isn't a fear anymore. It's a knowing that I have made one choice and I'm sticking with it. So I believe everyone settles in terms that we cut ourselves off from other options. Again, infinite number of options out there. And you have to find the person that really shows up for you. For me, a big one is quality time. I love to be worshiped. I like being number one in someone's life. And I want someone who values the house, the land, the pets, vacations, things like this as much as I do. And those were my big things. I used to think they were other things, like a certain salary and things like this. But I went with more of what really, really feels good to me, not like what I must have. Okay. Soulful Spark said she went on a date with a man and he was like touching her and wanted to go on a trip with her. And she said it's too fast. And then he pulled away. Why'd that happen? Listen to him. Because he wants it to happen fast. And you said, nope. And so he's like, okay, later. And you're like, well, come back if it can happen slow. That's not how he does things. He does things on his own pace, not yours. You will be pursuing him and going, will you please change and be more like me on the schedule I need? Now you can tell a man, hey, this is feeling wonderful, but it's way too fast. I need you to tap the brakes. But if he pulls away, that's all on him. Okay. I'm going to scroll down. Soulful Spirit says, do you do one-on-one coaching? Check out my website. I got some options for you there. I'll read one more here. Amal says, do you believe arranged marriages would work? I actually do. I worked with a lot of clients who are in arranged marriages. And I think when you have an arranged marriage, you've got often two families coming together that have similar values and beliefs, often religion, which is one of the most important reasons to sometimes stay together in a marriage or relationship, that you want to have that strong union with yourself and God and your community. So for a lot of people, that's really, really important. And I do believe arranged marriages could work. I really do. So I have, the belief that you can actually find something to really, really love about anyone and fall in love with them. There is a movie that Madonna and Guy Ritchie made, and Antonio Banderas, I believe, called Swept Away. And no spoilers, but if you watch Swept Away, you'll see how a relationship can go from like loathing to love, and from love to loathing again. We're expanding and contracting. Loathing, loving, loathing, loving. This is how human relationships work. You hope, though, that you spend a lot more time in the loving places and that you can repair when you're loathing. You spend more time in love and you can repair. That repair is so, so, so important. You think about your childhood, like if your parents ever got mad at you or something bad happened to you, and then they came to you and said, "Hey, listen, I didn't do so great there today. I'm really sorry." That repair is what makes it better. That's not an excuse to behave however you want to, but couples, I wish they focused a little bit more on repairing. Okay, last question. Nala says, if he's struggling with finances and it's affecting him deeply, what can you do as the woman in his life? Oh, I've got the perfect script for you. And this is in my book, 500 Ways to Talk to a Man. I know I have dropped so many of my courses on y'all, but you can check it out. And that is, I trust you can figure this out. I trust you got this. Oh, I have no doubts you have this. And you're just there for him, and you're creating that space for him. So he can come to you and go, "Oh, my life, my bills, they're so terrible," or whatever. And you're just like, "Oh my goodness, oh honey, I know you're going to figure this out. I know you are," because you're believing in him as a man, that he can fix what's wrong with his world. And that is just the most wonderful thing you can do. All right? All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. All my links are below. Check out my blog, Why Walking Away Works. You can just Google that term and my name. I have my links below to my courses. And I'll see you next time for the next live.